Hello, all you theater lovers, both out and proud and on the DL. Welcome back to Broadway Breakdown, a podcast discussing the history and legacy of American theater's most exclusive address, Broadway. I am your host, Matt Koplik, the least famous and most opinionated of all the Broadway podcast hosts. And I forgot to say this in part one. This series is called Matt's Picks, and it is covering shows that you submitted to Sally Bowl, and I did not pick out, but I wanted to cover anyway. So we are back for part two with friend of the pod, Miss Natalie Walker. We've been able to keep her a whole week. We kept her in the studio this entire time, and she just stayed for 7 days. But she's back.
Yeah.
Hello, Natalie.
Hello. I love living with you. I love it.
You love me so much. I'm a good roommate.
I'll never leave. Yeah.
You will never leave.
I'm evening primrosing in here.
I love that. Oh, I was going sideshow. I will never leave you, but yeah, knew you were going more niche. I appreciate. Thank you.
Yeah, that I'm a mannequin and I come alive at night.
I mean, in a lot of ways, you are Charmaine Carr and I am Anthony Perkins. You are an ingenue and I am gay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That is fair.
You're with Mother.
And I am with Mother. Not for much longer though. We're flying.
You're moving out of your Bates Motel.
my Great Gardens, yes. I won't say that was Norman Bates of me. That was Trey McDougal of me. Mother wants you all to know her home is nice. All right, back to Great Comet. We're on Broadway. It's 2016, 2017. Josh Groban's like, you know what I want to do? Make a Broadway debut. You want to know? Danae Ben's like, you know what I want to do? Make a Broadway debut. And we have them. We have this whole big production. How long had it been since you last seen it? Was it like since Kazino, or had you gone to see it at A.R.T. as well?
I had gone to see it at A.R.T. because that is when Heath Saunders got involved.
Uh-huh.
And it was sort of a miraculous thing because I met Heath maybe the summer before they booked it. They booked it at A.R.T. And by that point, I had seen it at Kazino so much, and I already knew that I was obsessed with it. And I met Heath doing a musical theater workshop, which I would not have done had Comet not made me fall back in love with musical theater and go, oh, if there's going to be stuff like this, I want to do that. I want to be there for if there's more stuff like this. And so I met Heath doing that workshop. We became instant best friends and forged a friendship through both having MoviePass during the era of MoviePass when it truly was like you were running a scam all the time, because we would just see movies together every other day and just swipe the magic card and not pay money. And so we saw everything together and just would like see bad movies and have a laugh. It was beautiful. And then a couple months into this new friendship, they went, oh, I'm going to be out of town for a bit. I'm going to be doing Comet at A.R.T. And I went, what are you talking about? And I went insane. And so then I got to visit them and see it in Boston and then saw it. I think it ended up being 4 times on Broadway, all told. So yeah. So I really saw every iteration but Ars Nova, but the first Ars production.
I think the design of that production on Broadway was really phenomenal, of capturing that incredible design of Kazino and implementing it into a proscenium house.
Yes.
And the curvatures of all the platforms and the runways, I thought was very intelligent, of just making sure that no one ever was facing one way all the time, always. There was always different directions.
Something visually to hold. Yeah.
And I mean, with those beautiful Metropolitan Opera House chandeliers and just really, really stunning stuff. Like it was both cluttered and elegant at the same time, which is the only way I can describe it. If the richest person you knew with the best taste was a hoarder, that is how I would describe the set design of Great Comet.
Yes. It's also, if there are any interior design freaks watching this, or if you're not an interior design freak, this will make you an interior design freak. There's a video of Charles Busch giving an apartment tour, and it is that. It's like sort of the platonic ideal of that, where he has so many bits and tchotchkes and memorabilia, and it's the most opulent, glamorous place you could imagine, that you're just like, oh, I want to live here. And it's so cozy too, and it's got the red. I mean, part of why I painted my walls red was that I was like, that is it, to just come into like this, even in a small apartment with a bunch of like cluttered things everywhere, there's just something about coming into a red space that just feels, ooh, it feels glamorous.
I mean, it's like a
No
burgundy
matter
right now,
what.
but I'm wearing a little bit of I'm in like a maroonish red right now.
Exactly.
Mother Russia. I did say something to Natalie off mic before that I'm not going to give the full details of, but I will call back to, which is just that in so many ways, Natalie Walker is a gay man. And just the casual Charles Bush of it all with interior design. I'm like, it's not performative. She just is in the most beautiful and truly pure of ways. And I appreciate it. What I hate about it is that she gets to have my desire for diva roles and actually get cast in them somewhere, whereas I have to go to my bedroom and pretend that the world is big enough for me. Not so. Not so.
Not
One
so.
day.
One day. Well, Green Room 42. The people will see the videos by the time this comes out. They'll be seeing the videos and they'll be going, let's open up the world. Let's make this world bigger.
Yeah.
Hey, let's make this world bigger.
If the world is wide enough for Hamilton and Burr, make it wide enough for Walker and Koplik.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Our Pierre and Natasha production.
I'm just saying. I'm starting to get to know some people. I'm starting to know people with money, and I'm learning to talk a big game with them. I was gonna try to get them to invest in my stuff. I'm like, maybe I have them invest in me and Natalie doing Natasha Pierre, but gender flipped. Yeah, I'm down. I'm fully down. Cola Scola is Hélène.
Yeah. Oh, chic.
Chic.
Yes.
Actually, okay, wait. So this is actually a song that I wanted to talk about a little bit. This is probably the best manipulation song a woman has had in musical theater since Poor Unfortunate Souls. Ursula would absolutely sing Charming.
Oh, God.
Because here's the thing.
If Amber Gray was looking at you and said, damn, you look gorgeous in that dress, I will do anything you say. Ma'am? Mommy? Sorry. Mommy? Sorry. Mommy? I look good in the dress? You think I look good in the dress? You think I look powerful in the oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be my fanfic. Absolutely.
It's Amber Gray saying, oh my God, look at you in that thing. You are going to be the prettiest person at my party. And then you go being like, oh my God, mommy said I look pretty in the dress. And then Lucas Steele with them lips in that butt being like, I am so in love with you. What am I supposed to do? Is it my fault that you are enchanting? And I'm like, oh, can I go to the bathroom for a second and change my underwear? I'm flooded. Basement flooded.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no underground in Louisiana. There's only underwater.
Salty.
That's in the top 5 for me of the 21st century of scores.
Oh, like, for fucking sure. Yeah.
And there's actually a lot of ties to Carolina Interchange and Great Comet, because Carolina Interchange is, I think, the first Broadway score I ever heard that was so many different genres that were meshing together. And I don't feel like I heard that again until Great Comet. The only one that's like kind of a caveat, and it's going to sound stupid, but hear me out here, is Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which was...
Well, you know I love Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, so I'll always give you a Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Wow. That is like a legit show that if someone was like, okay, we can't go so far to make you and Natalie do a gender bent Great Comet, we'll be like, do you want to do a traditional Dirty Rotten Scoundrels with us? Because we'll do that.
We'll do that any day of the damn week. Oh, that's me. Perfect diva entrance.
God, Sherry Renee. The Sherry Renaissance. It's here, it's happening. But this is to say, with Dirty Round Scoundrels, that was the first time I had heard a score where like each character had their own genre of music, and they didn't intertwine in the way that Great Comet and Carolina Change do. But I remember that being this thing that people were ticked off about at first. I remember like reading the message boards at the time because Natalie and I still read them, guys. Just so you know.
Yeah, we trod the boards.
Yeah,
Yes.
us and Jesse Tyler Ferguson. But I remember when the Dirty Round Scoundrels was in previews, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, the score doesn't know what it wants to be." And I was like, "No, John Lithgow has a different style than Norbert Leo Butz, who has a different style from Cher Renee Scott. Like, it's actually really fucking brilliant." And Comet's the same way. It's just that Malloy is like, "Oh yeah, like when Anatole enters the world, his electro pop is going to infiltrate Natasha's like classic musical theater style, and you're gonna hear it fuck in a way that like shouldn't work and yet does."
Yes.
That's actually kind of like a really smart way to subconsciously let an audience know how things can fit or not fit. Like, as you were saying, constrained notes with Natasha and Mary, like, that's a really good way to let an audience know that of like, that tension without having to necessarily explain it. You hear it and you go, "Oh."
Yes.
There's no world in which Natasha can ever be Mary's sister-in-law. These two women are so diametrically opposed. And while Anatole doesn't necessarily fit with Natasha as like a soulmate, you hear how their music combines. You're like, "Oh, I get the attraction.
Mm-hmm.
This is a new style of music in
Mm-hmm.
the show we haven't heard yet, and that's kind of
Yes.
fun."
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
But back to Charming. One of my favorite lyrics, and it's a line in the novel is, "Such a shame to bury pearls in the country," which is that I'm sorry. I just also finished recording with Ali Gordon where we both say cunt like every 5 seconds. So like that is
Yes.
cunt. That line,
Yes.
it's it is so quotable. It is so flowery, and yet it's being used for manipulation. And also, it's also like it's a toss up of like it's saying to Natasha, "You're so beautiful. Why are you holding yourself up every night for your fiance? He wants you to have fun. It'd be a shame to bury pearls in the country."
Yeah. And the way that she weaponizes the fiance too, the the way that it's like, no, like men want to have the prettiest girl in society. So you need to go out into society to show people how beautiful you are so that when your fiance comes home, you'll be the biggest prize
Mm-hmm.
imaginable. Like, so setting it up so that she does come to the party thinking that she is being the dutiful fiance, presenting herself in society so that when he comes home, she is sort of a society queen that can be on his arm and can be the perfect trophy for him.
Absolutely.
Just
It also gives a little bit of the Sarah Michelle Gellar, Selma Blair scene in Cruel Intentions where
absolutely.
she's like, when your boyfriend gets back, you want to be experienced. You don't want him to have sex with you and you not know what you're doing. So have sex a lot. And it's
Yes.
that with that power of
Yes.
like, I know what I'm talking about. I've done this before. You idolize me. The There's a moment of staging that I completely forgot about, which is that at the top of the show, when Andre leaves, the first piece of staging we get, Natasha running after Andre before he leaves. She doesn't want him to go, but in the end, he gives her a token. She puts it on her neck, and he gives him his coat, and he goes out through the doors shut. She wears that token all throughout the show until Charming, when Hélène puts her in a new dress, rips the token off of her.
The token, it doesn't go.
It doesn't go with the
It
dress.
doesn't go.
And gives her the double pearl necklace that Natasha had been idolizing during the opera. And she frames it not as a forget about him, like you gotta do all these things. It's you're a woman now, you deserve big girl clothes. Here's your big girl clothes. You're welcome. You're being anointed. Aren't you ready? Aren't you excited? Look at the good I do.
I'm styling you. I'm
Yeah.
styling you.
Mm-hmm. But I just remember watching that in the library last week. I was like, I forgot about that. I forgot about that moment. It's such a great moment
Yes.
that fits with what the song is doing and reminds the audience that like Hélène is talking out of her ass. Or rather, she's using truth to her advantage. Natasha is beautiful. Everyone does think Natasha's beautiful. Anatole does want her, but not in the capacity that Hélène is saying. And like Andre would want Natasha to have fun, but like within reason.
Right. And it's like, you could be a me. You could be sort of a me if you play this right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think it's all manipulation like, it is all manipulation, but I don't think it's entirely. Maybe this is just me wanting Hélène to have like more of a heart
Female
than
solidarity.
she might not. But it's not all manipulation on behalf of her brother. I think there is an element that's like, this girl is as pretty as I was at that age. And I love my life. My life rocks. And this girl, like, if she plays her cards right, she could have like a fun life like me. You know? Like,
yeah, I think I would still maybe describe it as manipulation just because she's
no,
not.
it is all manipulation, but that it might be more like not just on behalf of the brother, but also like, oh, I could have like a really hot friend. Like, you ever seen Two Pretty Best Friends? Like,
I think there's part of that for sure. This is not necessarily give Hélène and Anatole credit. They are not intending to ruin Natasha's life. They're not pulling.
They're just intending to experience their own pleasure.
Yeah, and they don't think about the next
to get
step.
Their kicks. Yeah.
And in fact, when Pierre confronts Anatole and he's like, "Did you promise to marry her?" And he's like, "I don't remember, maybe, kind of." And it's like, we witnessed him recite a letter to her that Dolokhov wrote that was literally like, "Marry me. I'm going to take you and we're going to get married." He's telling everyone, "I'm going to marry her and we're going to elope." And then when Pierre's like, "Well, did you promise that?" He's like, "Maybe. I don't know. That was 10 minutes ago. Like, I can only tell you what happened 4 minutes ago."
Yeah. Yeah.
And Helene's sort of the same way, where it's always like, it's about the now, live in the now. And it is weaponizing what is meant to be a healthy mantra of like, enjoy yourself, enjoy the world, enjoy each other, and weaponizing that for your own personal gain. Whereas Pierre learns that mantra at the end by touching grass, of learning rather like not to have your own joy and have it be selfish so much as like participate again, be a participant in the world. And Hélène and Anatole are like, "Well, yes, I'm a participant." And we're like watching them going, "No, no, no. You view everyone else as your props. That's not participating. That's using. You use the world." Yeah. Look at me using words today. Oh my God.
I know. Beautiful.
Am I a podcaster or something? My God. More notes I have here. Okay. Okay. I'll tie this now down to Danae and Philippa Sue. The first time I saw Danae on Broadway, it was pretty soon after they opened. I want to say it was December, might have been January. And I remember being kind of a little disappointed with her. And part of it was that I had seen her on the second season of Unreal, because I am what? Gay. And I remember being like, she's so ferocious. I can't wait to see her. And I purposely avoided any audio of her. I wanted to like watch her. And I was a little underwhelmed by her vocally. To her credit, Natasha's a fucking hard role, and some of that got tailored to Philippa. But one of my issue with Danae at the time, and I still have that issue with her performance now post library recording. Although I will say, by the time the library recording happened in August of 2017, she vocally grew a lot. So I had no issues anymore with her singing. I was like, "Oh, she sounds like a Disney princess. I don't care. This is beautiful." Yeah. But her perspective on Natasha, for me, kind of fell in line with how I felt sort of about Chafkin's perspective to blow up the show more, which we were talking about in part one, which was like, we got to go bigger. We got to reach the back row. Everyone's got to feel like they're a part of this Samovar bar, which was like, that's kind of the whole reason why it's done environmentally, is that was Malloy's intention. For those of you who are not listening as much to part one, when he was commissioned by Ars Nova to be their artist in residence, and he was writing this show, he wanted to make this musical, and the inspiration came from being in Russia and being in this bar where like there were musicians in one corner, there was a musician next to him, like everything was around you, so it wasn't on a stage, and he wanted that. And to get that energy everywhere in the Imperial, which is a sizable theater, it's not the Broadway, it's not the Winter Garden, but it's sizable, things had to get bigger. And some things, as we said in part one, for me, got a little left by the wayside. And Danae, for me, I thought was the biggest victim of that perspective of the production. Her Natasha, for me, felt a little Disney princess, bless you, but as a cartoon, not as a person. And I thought her act 2 was lovely, and she does the final scene with Pierre really beautifully, but that rug being pulled out from under her wasn't as effective for me because of the tone of the show and her performance of Act 1. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Even if you disagree.
Yeah, well, I just think that is mainly chalked up for me to the whole thing getting bigger and just, like, losing the intimacy that we had with Natasha that made us lock in to that character
Mhm.
more. Like, I don't know, and obviously we'll never know because Philippa didn't do the Broadway run, um, but I suspect a lot would have been lost even with Philippa
Mhm.
doing it on that stage, on that scale. I think so much of the performance acting wise in the tents was that you were so close to her, and she
Mhm.
had a very intimate moment with like almost every section of the theater where you were really feeling it along with her, and then moving into that larger space and doing, even with the stuff in the round that they did try to do with the tables and things, um, it still was, like, much more proscenium than most things.
Yeah.
That not than most things. It was still much more proscenium staged than previous iterations is what I meant. Um, so yeah, I just think that that loss of intimacy really made that role suffer the most because being that close to the ingenue
Mhm.
in a show and sharing those, like, having her look over her shoulder during the tea with Mary and go, "What the fuck?" to the
Mhm.
person next to her, like, it just does not read the same way, and to have someone in that larger space do that same vibe of the gesture of the look over their shoulder and what the fuck, suddenly it becomes this different thing when it has to get bigger as opposed to just like, I'm watching this woman have this experience and she's really with me, as
Yeah.
opposed to having to illustrate it for the entire room.
Agreed. I think it also for me becomes a commenting on, and there is
Mm,
already commenting on in Comet. Like there's a cheekiness
yes.
to that show. And
Yes.
I feel like when you do the hat on the hat, it goes from being smart to becoming smart assy. And
Mhm.
I don't think that the show is a smart ass, but I think
Right.
when you play the intelligence up for more comedic effect, then you get that distance. And I do, because I remember when Comet came to Broadway, because there had been so much hype from the tens, and it got really
Mhm.
great reviews, and it was Groban's debut. A lot of people were confused by it and sort of felt distanced by it, and there became a great divide for the Great Comet of people who got it and people who didn't. And I
Mhm.
always, after I saw it on Broadway, I always felt a little empathy for the people who didn't get it because I was like, I
Same.
understand what it is that's keeping you away, and I wish you had
Yeah.
seen it in the tent
Yes.
because it's the same material, it's a lot of the same cast. It's like it's just and I don't know what the solution would have been because I don't know financially like what made the most sense for them in what theater or what theaters were available. But part of me is like, while the Imperial worked in a lot of ways, like the way that entryway in the lobby
Right.
works really well for them. There at
Yes.
Kazino. Part of me was like, what is like
Circle
uh,
in the
Circle
square.
Square would have been phenomenal.
Sure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what everybody
Yeah.
wanted. But I was like, I was trying to think if they couldn't do a full blown casino at Circle in the Square, like what would be the next
Mhm.
option? Like, could they made the Longacre work, which has like three tiers, and you could have that same intimacy, or a much greater intimacy, while still having like 1,100 seats, which could
Yeah.
still bring you a profit. Maybe I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm not a mathematician. There's a reason
Mm.
why I do
Oh,
this.
same. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just something that I like to think about because then I see online videos from the Shanghai production, which is like even bigger with that. Have you seen those videos?
Those are insane.
Insane
Yes.
and
Yeah.
like impressive. But I'm like, girl, you are a football field away from the audience. How is this coming across? And then I see clips of the Donmar Warehouse and I get why that production took off the way it did because I'm like, yeah, it was intimate. You were a part of it. You felt
Yes.
alive with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I was so bummed that I didn't get to see it at the Donmar because
Same.
that looked like, oh,
Yeah.
oh,
The only thing
this is what I crave.
The only name I recognized from the Donmar was Jamie Moscato, who I believe went on to do Heathers and Great Gatsby. Don't quote me on that. I'm not. Okay, there he is. There's the boy. Yes, he was JD. He was JD in the Heathers. Guess he was Gatsby in Great Gatsby. I feel like he received an Olivier nomination for Best Actor in a Musical for Great Comet.
Well.
Well, what have we here? I feel like somebody won an Olivier for the Donmar production, and I want to figure out who.
I think it was Sonia. I believe it was Sonia.
That makes a lot of sense. Let me find.
Because that version of the song, I went, ooh,
girl. Yeah, it was Sonia. Oh, she was in Standing at Sky's Edge. Maybe I saw her in Standing at Sky's Edge. Who is this girl? And let me paste you. And where are you at? Oh my God, yes, I know exactly who this is. She played the lesbian girlfriend in Standing at Sky's Edge. She was a lot of fun.
Great.
Yes. Great. When was the last time you were in London, Miss Natalie?
I went at the end of the summer, but I didn't see much. I saw Oliver and I saw Evita twice. I went to see Evita twice because I was like, that's where I really gotta be.
Yeah, you and my friend Danny, I remember you both saw it twice. Do you already have 2 tickets, or did you go back and buy a ticket?
I went back and got a ticket after, because I saw it. Yeah, I saw it the first night I got in, and then I was like, we gotta get back. We gotta get back, because it was the last week, and I was like, I will be so sad if I don't experience this again. Just hearing the score played like the rock score that it was such a thrill. I loved that production so much. Like, oh Lord. Yeah. I love that little diva. I love that little diva. What I really was obsessed with that vocal performance in Evita was like the negotiation of it was so smart from a storytelling perspective. Like the way that she I call it her weaponized Disney soprano. Like when she was seducing Perone, she was being like, oh, who me? And you just like, you see exactly why she's able to get the amount of power that she does with regard to his campaign and stuff, because she's not the wheel you'll have power on a plate really does like sort of come out of nowhere a bit to him, because all of his experiences of her in direct contact until that point are her being in Disney soprano mode. And then when she does her asides to the audience and they are at the end of I'd Be Surprisingly Good for You, when they go back into the good night and thank you mode, then she lets the tiger out of the cage. But yeah, she's brilliant in that voice. Oh my God.
That might be a star casting that I would be okay with for Great Comet.
Comet, yeah. That is what.
Yeah, I think that's a good Natasha in this world.
Absolutely. Because she similarly with Evita was able to do the thing of having one small look that goes, oh, I see where you are. I see where you are. Yeah. Oh Lord, yeah.
Yeah. She a talented boo. She crazy. But yeah, I was just trying to think about that of
and the taste. I looked at her set list for her solo show and I was like, go off, bitch.
I only know
Stars, and she did Stars from Les Mis. She did Silver Spring. Like that's a bit of a slay for me to be doing Les Mis and Fleetwood Mac. That rocks. Yeah, I hope she does. I think I'm sure she'll do it here.
Yeah, I don't want to speak too much out, but this was sort of the thing with Comet. There was always a push and pull of when it was going to come, if it was ever going to come, because when it was, there was talks of like, well, can they just keep it in the tent? Is that profitable? And it became to be that it wasn't, just because like they're off-Broadway has like times where it's fashionable, times when it's not. And Great Comet unfortunately chose a commercial run for off-Broadway when like it was the most non-fashionable.
Yeah.
Like they were fashionable and they were a limited run in Meatpacking District, and then they like waited 6 months, moved to Midtown, and like people stopped caring. And it was frustrating because like it was hard to see it in the Meatpacking District. It wasn't hard to see it once it moved to 45th Street, which is heartbreaking. But then it became okay. They want to move it to Broadway. Everyone just kept being like, "When's Circle in the Square going to be open? When's Circle in the Square going to be open?" And the irony was that the talks were that Great Comet and Fun Home were going to come to Broadway for the same season. Because when Great Comet was next door to the Imperial, Fun Home had just premiered at the public. And I was like, oh, this thing is fast tracking. Now, like, they're going to go to the booth or something. And then the producers of Fun Home basically were like, we're going to wait a couple more months. We have a little bit of tinkering we want to do. We don't have the theater we want. And everyone's like, what do you mean you don't have the theater you want? The booth is open. And Great Comet's like, we think we're going to go to A.R.T. and like figure this out on a proscenium. And then the irony being, Fun Home comes in the following season in Circle in the Square. And everyone's like, the fuck? And then Great Comet comes to Broadway one building over. Like after
Yeah.
you're not just one
Yeah.
building over. But it's so fascinating to look back at the boards and like the hypothesis that people have of like what theater could go where and what are they thinking. And no one knows actually what's happening behind closed doors, because for a year nobody knew that Great Comet was trying to figure out how to be in a proscenium house. Nobody knew Fun Home was trying to do in the round. And it shows you who actually knows what they're talking about. But it's nice when people are passionate. But that's sort of that these are the shenanigans, these are the conversations that go into transfers everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's complicated. It's
mhm.
all complicated. And the bitches on the boards
The
running
bitches-
their little mouths, and I devour all of it. I'm going,
Yes, we have a private
What's everyone
conversation.
saying? What's everybody saying?
We converse, she and I, about what you guys say on the board sometimes. Not in any mocking way. Some of you are masters of words, but
And who raised me? Many raised me. Although I
exactly.
guess like the ones who really raised us are mostly moved on, passed on.
Yes, well, Margot Channing, R.I.P., but Pal Joey,
Ugh.
best 12 bars. You'll be
Where are
remembered.
you? Yeah,
We love you.
you're alive in our hearts
Alive in
forever
our
and
hearts
ever and
always.
ever. Yeah, that's the best thing about being unemployed, is that I can be on Broadway World boards. Like if I'm in a show, then I can't be on the Broadway World boards because I get scared that I'll catch a stray somewhere.
For sure.
Which is maybe like also narcissistic. I'm like, nobody cares. Nobody cares about me.
But it's always when you least expect it, though. Like the moment you let
Exactly.
your guard down.
Exactly. Then it's somewhere I catch a stray. But when I'm unemployedista, oh baby, I can just irrelevance is beautiful. Irrelevance is actually such an exquisite state of being, because you really get to take in everything on the Broadway World message board specifically.
It's a powerful tool to be relevant. It is such comforting tool to be irrelevant. Mhm.
Like a warm bath.
Yes, when you know that you won't see your name in print for a while, you're like, oh God,
Yeah.
I can just.
And then, ooh, soak. I'm Joan Allen in Pleasantville.
Talk about getting that ink out, honey.
Do, do, do.
She just lifts
Leg
her
up.
leg. Leg up.
Leg up. She's an answer.
She is Victoria the White Cat. Okay, I have a bone to pick with Mr. Malloy and Miss Shafkin, though, about the Broadway production.
Yes.
Maybe it's just the fact that it was the final week. They had like 5 more shows to go. That Abduction went on for a very long time. And maybe if I was in the theater, I would be less bored, but I was at the Lincoln Center Library. There was a woman across the aisle from me who was having the time of her life watching for probably was Medea, but sounded like noises off. She was laughing so hard. And I'm sitting there being like, Lucas Steele is still holding this note. We're still dancing. Natasha has not been kidnapped yet. And I'm sitting there going like, my house, in my house, in my house, in my house. And so if I could sit down with them and be like, is this how long the Abduction still is? And they were to say yes, I go, cool. Is there anywhere we can shave off 90 seconds? Just 90. We don't need to chop it in half. I just need a little bit of fat out, just a little bit. That's my only other major poem to pick. Because otherwise I like all of Dave's changes for Broadway writing wise. I love Dust and Ashes. I think it's a beautiful song.
Yes.
Ties Pierre to the center.
Yeah.
I like all the changes to Sunday morning. Uh, Time for church. Although I do like the off Broadway "Come to Church, Dear." It's
Yeah. Oh God.
yeah.
Yeah. The only thing, and like I do get it dramaturgically for a private and intimate life of Volkansky's. I love the longer version on
Mhm.
the, like, I get totally the cul-de-sac aspect of it and why it was an easy place to shave off time and perhaps dramaturgically works better. But there are just some little melodic things from the off-Broadway recording that I miss so much.
Yeah.
Uh the turn with the there upon his head really gets me. Pride of sacrifice gathers in my soul. There upon his head. And you get singing this in the oh God.
Do you ever have a performance where after Bolkonsky shouts, "Where are my glasses? Where are my glasses?" We're in the silence, someone just goes, "They're on your head."
I think I did see that happen once. Or like there was a kid, I
Yeah.
wanna say, that like said it.
It happened to me
And it's
twice in the
just
tent.
yeah.
Downtown, it didn't happen, but both times in Midtown in the tent, it happened. And it was one person, it was like a very quiet, "They're on your head." And everybody laughed. And then Shayna had to just keep plowing forward. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the next time, it was someone like just very like exasperated. Cause you know, that bit of like, "Where are my glasses?"
It
goes on
goes,
for a
yeah.
while.
Yeah, and it's like increasingly the orchestration is getting
It's
more frantic and
Yeah.
stressful.
Yeah, it's
It's
chaotic, it's very
actively yeah,
cacophonous,
yeah.
and yeah, and then the crashes out of that silence, and Shayna, God bless her, used to hold that silence for a while, and in that silence, yeah, the third time someone was like, "They're on your head," and it was just I just remember sitting there and be like, "Do you really think that Shayna forgot her line? She's like, she's gonna say it. Calm down. It's happening.
We're gonna get there. We're
We're
getting
gonna
there.
get there. I got you, baby."
Okay.
I do prefer the entryway from Natasha to the Bukowski house of the "I hope they like me, everyone has always liked me," and right into the Mary thing, like that abruptness,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
it always put Natasha a little on edge. But I do enjoy the change of putting that line into the everyday life of the house because it's actually a quite funny line now.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and yeah, and reminds people like this is why we're dealing with this 7-minute song right now because Natasha will be coming in
Yes.
3 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um. Yes. I forgot. I always forget about this. I always forget in the scene with Natasha and Pierre when the music cuts out and he speaks dialogue, like the only dialogue of the whole night.
God, it's so that moment is so beautiful to me and so massively important. And I used to, if I, because I'm not a good actor, I will have to go to things that make me cry in in, in cultural objects. Sometimes if I have to like sort of conjure it out of nowhere for a self tape or something like that. And for a long time, I would just start thinking about if I were not myself with a bride. Oh God, it worked like a charm every fucking time for a while until I used it too much. And then
Mhm.
my body learned how to get through it without just falling to pieces. But I think it's so smart to come out of an opera and have this be the simplest, the way that we talk about musical theater and you say when you're feeling too much that you can't speak anymore and you have to sing, and that in the world of this show that is so bombastic, that is so music as the through line, as the method of communication, that Pierre still is awkward in this world, and that the most vulnerable he can be after having sung with everyone the whole night i- is that all of the music goes away and suddenly it's the most exposed, awkward thing, but you say the exact most beautiful thing in that moment. It's just, it really, really just guts me. Just
Yeah.
guts me, thinking about it thinking about it now, it's just it's such a perfect moment of musical storytelling in the specific absence of music in that moment.
I think that's why moments like this are why people like us do keep coming back to musical theater and keep defending it to people. Go, oh, it's not realistic. People don't sing. I'm like, it is a heightened versions of ourselves and a more exposed version of ourselves. And it can reach you chemically in a way. Lindsay Ellis always says musicals are things that your head doesn't understand, but your heart does. And I think that that is very true. And it's the idea with this is like the fact that that music gets taken away is the most chemical way for an audience to understand, oh, we are raw now. Like there's no ornamentation. It is just this.
Mhm.
Yeah. What are the actual lines? Do you know do you remember them exactly?
If I were not myself, but the brightest, handsomest, best man on earth, and if I were free, I would get down on my knees this minute and ask you for your hand and for your love.
Ah. The way
Come
that Dave
on.
Malloy says, "And for your love," is just like so it's so childlikely pleading, you know?
Yes, yes. Oh God.
Because the truth is he doesn't really know love. I mean, he has
Right,
a father who favored him, but we don't really know much about what that relationship was like. When he was young, people kind of put up with him because of his dad, and then he gets rich, and people fawn over him to get the money, and that's why he's with Hélène, but, like, he doesn't have genuine love from someone.
right,
Yeah, and to see someone like Natasha I mean, it's also what I love about that scene is that he's not entirely sure what he's planning to experience when he sees Natasha, because this is when everything's gone down. The elopement has, gone up in flames, and Natasha's reputation could possibly be ruined. And Anatole has left, and Andre comes home, and he and Pierre have this, reunion, and Andre, Andre sounds just so resigned, and it's not like hateful, but he is clearly hurt and mad at Natasha for what she's done, while not fully acknowledging like she is almost half your age, and you left her alone for a year. Like she's impressionable. Uh, Not that she's fully faultless, she does make choices, but it's like, dude, she's not on your level of like life experience. Something was gonna happen.
right,
Um,
right,
and Pierre says, like, when he comes to see Natasha, part of him expected to hate her and then despise her for this thing she did, this monstrous thing, only to when you're it's that thing of like when we're online and we're yelling at people and how could they say this to do this? They become this inanimate object, not a person, this random thing.
yes,
It's what makes hate mail happen. And then you see the real person affected by all this. It changes a lot. Like you can still have an opinion on the actions, but how you treat them changes. I think that's why all of my theater friends don't hate me whenever I have an opinion on a show. Because then they see me and they go, "Oh right, you're just you. I can't be
right,
mad at you. Look at you. Look
right.
at you, tiny child.
You're going through it. We're all going through it.
Wearing
We're
a
all
bed sheet."
going through it. He had gastritis. Leave him alone.
Not you bringing my goddamn baggage onto this podcast, Natalie Walker. We talk about my play and the man who inspired my play and nothing more. We do not talk about the gastritis. We do not talk about the food poisoning. We do not talk about
In this house?
in my house, in my
In
house.
my
You hear what I'm saying or not? It's we do not talk about the tortilla chip that almost ruined my life. We don't talk about that shit. Oh my god. I was not expecting gastritis.
I don't know where it came from in me either. I certainly was not planning on exposing you in that fashion. But I'm just saying everyone is dealing with something. We can all be gentle with each other when we speak face to face.
Yes.
But yeah, the way that he goes into that conversation, almost the way that he goes into that conversation, um, knowing the types of women that Anatole has been with before and knowing how easy to yell at those women would be because they're frivolous, because they're any woman that would be with Anatole is bad in some way, is like just as bad as he is in some way
Mhm.
to Pierre. And so he goes in thinking Natasha is whatever fondness he felt for Natasha in the past. Clearly she's grown up to be someone like his wife.
Yeah.
And then when he actually sees her nightgown, braid, completely drawn and sick over this experience, it's a whole different thing that he's been confronted with. Like when you psych yourself up to go talk to someone or do something, and then you see them and it's just like, oh, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna I'm gonna leave. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Pierre and Natasha, and the simplicity of that little repeating arpeggio is just so, it's so gutting. And I did in the 54 show I did with Heath back in the day, which was like maybe right after Comet closed. We did Pierre and Natasha as an encore, and Heath played it on the piano while also doing the lines. And it was mainly, I was just like, because they never got to go on for Pierre. They had like maybe one Pierre put in, I want to say, but never actually got to do it. And so I was like, this is basically me doing Mary Sue self-insert fanfic at this point, that I'm like, you actually were in the show, but I just want to do Natasha in this scene. And it really, it was my dream come true. So wonderful.
I mean, you're about to pay it forward with me, you know.
I know.
By this point, everyone will know what we're talking about, but we're still gonna be coy about it. It's fine. Yes, Natalie Walker is making my dreams come true with a specific scene. Yeah, I think you're right. It's guys, I swear to God, I really don't mean to keep bringing up like the play. I was bringing it up a lot in the past, like as a running joke of the, just, oh, did you hear? I wrote a little bit. But the point is that when I was going through my turmoil, because I was not in communication with him, my brain went to a place of viewing him in a certain light and what he was going through in a certain light, that I was like, if I ever do see him, like, oh my God, I can't wait to make him suffer. Eventually, when he and I reconnected, I find out like he was also going through a lot of turmoil. I would argue more so than me. And it was like it was a very educational experience of, this man who really hurt me in a very awful way, in some ways, like, kind of paid for it in a lot of ways. And I can't begrudge him that. Like, you see someone who's trying to build themselves back up after this shattering moment. Because again, we're all just people. There is one person that I still very much talk shit about because I've never actually met them, Natalie. Yep. And if I ever do, I'm sure it will change how I talk about that person.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The longer that you go without actually interacting with the person, and you just see, specifically with social media, when you see someone that is so annoying on social media. I have like a couple of friends that I love so much in person, and the way that they are, like, it won't even be on social media, but just like the way they text or something, it's just like requires instant responses and is over and over. And I just get overwhelmed by that. And so then I just go to a place of like, I hate this person in my phone. I love this person in real life. Don't be in my phone. Don't be a person in my phone anymore. I can't interact with you as a person in my phone. Goodbye.
Yeah.
It's just such a, because I'll forget based on how they are as a person in my phone, and I'll go, God, I have to have a friend breakup. Like, what are we gonna do? And then I see them in person, and I'm like, oh, this is lovely. I was ready to wring your fucking neck, and then I see that you are a person in the world, and I see where the behavior of the person in my phone is coming from, and it's that you're scared, and we all respond to fear in different ways. And I'm sure me as a person in your phone, you're like, I'm gonna wring this girl's neck because she's so avoidant or whatever. But then we come together, and it goes, oh, Oh. Da da da
Yeah.
da 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 da
Can I
da da.
share? May I be a little vulnerable for a second, Miss Natalie?
Always, please.
Thank you, if I may. Um, I talk about this sometimes on the pod, like the things in musicals and plays and movies that always get me are when people show up for each other, because my brain is such, in a lot of ways I am like a Pierre, and it's why I kind of want to play Natasha. Like I want to inhabit that energy of like everyone has always liked me.
Yes.
My brain has a hard time remembering in my life when people showed up for me. And people have. Like I'm not a sad sack. It's I have to remind myself of all the times like a friend has done good by me and all these things because my brain just goes to all the times that they haven't or all the times that I've been let down. And so I think with someone like Pierre, by being so isolated this entire show, it's easy when you're alone and you're on your own and your brain already kind of goes to those places of thinking everyone is awful, everyone is cynical, no one, everyone is selfish. And people, when they make mistakes, they laugh it off and they're frivolous, especially with the people who are right in front of him, like a Hélène or an Anatole. And then to reconnect with Natasha and see someone who made a mistake is paying gravely for it. And he is doing the courtesy of showing up for her. And I like to think that in some ways she shows up for him when he lays his heart bare and she doesn't. She smiles and sort of is like receptive to it. And obviously can't say anything other than that because like he is not free in that moment. And she is kind
Yeah.
of a little ruined and physically fighting back from almost death.
Yes.
But it's like the small kindness of like hearing it, appreciating it, and like actually absorbing it and not just shaking it
Yes.
off. You
Yes.
know, that is
The
something that
actual
really,
absorption of the moment, of letting it land, letting it really land. And that's also, on Dave, that's on Rachel, of really giving that moment the breath that it deserves, and letting Natasha take it in and give that genuine smile that is like a generous act in that moment, to not look away. Yes,
uh
to your point, to not look away, to not laugh it off, to not brush it away, but to really accept it and take it in from this person, and to see a person that you've known for years and years in this entirely new light, and that's always possible. I
mhm.
think there's a beautiful possibility in it, and without knowing, it's beautiful if you know how the rest of the book plays out, and it's beautiful if you don't and you just see it as this contained moment of real grace and compassion between two people, that someone can always surprise you. I think we've been talking about what that moment is, and there are a million ways to read it, and there are a million ways to read Pierre's reaction going into the finale. And I think now, talking through all of this with you, such a massive part of it is you can be surprised by someone you've known for decades at any moment. At any moment, they could say something that changes your life,
Yeah,
changes your relationship to them, to yourself, not necessarily romantically, but just that changes you on a molecular level. And it's always possible. It's always possible if you leave your house, if you talk to someone, if you ask them a question or tell them a thing, if you let yourself be vulnerable with them. And that's such a small miracle.
absolutely. And especially in this moment, because up until now, conversations between characters aren't always about human need or or yeah, human need. Because with interactions like Anatole, it's a seduction. With Helene, it's a manipulation. With Maria, her concern for Natasha, while she does love her and favor her, a lot of the conversation is about society and status. Like she's more concerned. Andre marrying Natasha is a great match because he will save the family.
Right.
And Natasha running out for Anatole ruins her reputation. And there's also stuff that like Sonia talks about as well. Even Sonia alone, while she cares for Natasha and loves her, and that's part of the plea of that song, a lot of it is also, I will not let you ruin your life, because by doing this, all the things that you have right now will go away. And Pierre making that statement to Natasha, it's not about, I would do this to save your reputation. It's not because you're the most beautiful person in the world. It's not because you're of high status. It's not because you've done something wrong. It's just you as a person, you here standing in front of me. I feel this way about you, and I would, without hesitation, and I would ask this of you if you could. And that is just such a, I don't know, you're in a relationship more than I am. I'm in a relationship with me, myself, and I. But in the few times that I have had that intimacy with someone of you're seeing me at my worst, you know the worst I've done, and you're still saying that you would with me.
Yes. Yes.
Really, I beg to differ with you.
How do you mean?
You're the top.
Yeah?
You're an arrow color. You're the top. You're a Coolidge dollar. You're the nimble tread of the feet of Fred Astaire.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, and I will start crying because I love my boyfriend I have been with for 8 years now, and he truly has seen me at my worst. We both have had an experience where like we first like kissed a decade ago, and then both went through like a weird period where we weren't speaking, and it was very dramatic, and then we came back together 8 years ago, and it's been just like a relationship built on trust throughout. But during that time, we really have seen each other in periods where, like, when we were first getting together 8 years ago, both of us were like, okay, we're on the rocket ship. We're like on the rocket ship to success, and we're both going to be so successful so fast. Like, we're about to be fucking 30 under 30 everywhere. Hubris. And then both had really massive sort of crash outs where it wasn't happening, which then made us so depressed that then we spiraled even further down and we couldn't figure it out. And to love someone through that, because especially at the beginning of the relationship, I was like, oh, great. What I bring to this relationship, even when I'm being like annoying and crazy, is that like I'm going to be a really big deal or whatever. And I'm going to be like a social butterfly queen, and he'll be so happy about it. And like vice versa with him. And to both be in places where we were like, oh, no one wants me to do the thing that I thought I was put on the planet to do. I feel like I am ugly. I feel like I am unlovable. And to love someone through that, to be with someone through that is such a beautiful gift. And there have been so many moments over the course of our relationship where I've been like melodramatic. My life is over. I have brought shame to myself and everyone around me. And that is at the heart of any time I've been there, is that like why I stay with someone this long is that I know he will always be there to do that for me, to give me that you should be with the brightest, handsomest, best person on the planet. And that's what you deserve, just so you know. And it's always very matter of fact. And it is like that matter of factness in that line and the line reading, like that he really doesn't let Malloy doesn't, especially his reading of it. He really doesn't let sentiment or emotionality really like seep out until that final for your love. If I keep going, it will stop being blunt and a fact that I'm telling you a fact. That's what you need to know, is I'm not, it's just,
and that's
what love is.
Well, it's also that is so Pierre of, I would have this talk with my mom a lot of like, when you're getting a gift for somebody and you have to think about what it is that they would want, or when you host a thing and like everyone says thank you afterwards, maybe like not everyone followed up with an email the next day. I was like, not everyone is going to respond in the way that you would. Pierre saying that, it's not Kit Connor doing a pull-up to kiss Rachel Zegler, but it is where Pierre is at. That is who he is, and that is his declaration. And when you can see that from him, and like, and Natasha knows Pierre pretty well. Like, they haven't seen each other in a few years, but they're old family friends, and so she knows sort of his vibe. So to hear him say those words in that way, she knows that he means it, and she knows how much it takes out of him to say it. Right? Like, it's the like, it's why I always disagreed with Sondheim when he said like, oh, the main character in Do I Hear a Waltz is hard to crack because she doesn't sing. She's so closed off emotionally. I'm like, those are the people who sing the most because
Yes.
their
They've got
emotions.
so much going on under.
It's a river inside, to quote Monica Geller, and it's just like if they ever let it out, it just would gush. And so like you play with that of how much they do let out, how much they're afraid of. And Pierre is that kind of guy, and he had like his two biggest like. I was gonna say his two biggest like pleas to God are his opening song and then Dust and Ashes. And then I would argue that like The Club is an active scene for him of just like his malaise and trying to do something productive, which results in the duel. And then the Great Comet finale is him kind of finding equilibrium within himself of yeah, it's the I'm sure you've seen that clip that everyone shared around of like Aubrey Plaza talking about her grief with her husband of like it's always
Yes.
there and
Yes.
it's learning
And
like
it's just
you're never
looking into it and yeah.
like there's never a day when you're not gonna be depressed, but it can be something you live with and not something you're fighting against. And if you learn how to live with it, you don't define yourself by it, and you can then have other emotions besides that. It becomes part of the salad, not the only ingredient. The number of times, Natalie Walker, where I have been like walking to the Q train and just like feel a lump in my chest where I'm like, I'm about to cry for no reason other than probably something 2 weeks ago that I refused to address is now like finding its way through me. But I'm also busy and I'm happy because I'm like being productive. It's
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
As opposed to the days when it's just there's no reason to get out of bed. What is the point of anything? Yeah. To just let it be part of it. To go, oh, I'm sad, but I put on pants.
Yeah.
I have shoes on. And I'm outside of the apartment.
You need to meet me where I'm at right now because I can only meet you this far.
Oh, wait. Great. Now
Yes.
I know.
About what?
The diva that I'll have close out because that just gave me an idea. It's a good one that you'll like.
I'm happy. I'm thrilled. Are there characters we haven't really talked about much that you would like to talk about? We talked about Natasha a great deal, Pierre a great deal. We haven't talked that much about Anatole, but I also think there's not much to him. Like, he doesn't have that much inner life. What you see is what you get.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's, yeah. The sex alien aspect of it, the prince. As in Purple Rain, not in Disney Prince.
Yes. I was trying to think of like who I would want to see as an Anatole. And when we said Zegler for a Natasha part, it was like, ooh, would Diego be a good Anatole? But I actually think he's a little too classically hot. Like,
yes.
He's
no, I think
pretty.
it has to be like someone you are like, I have never seen a person like this.
Yeah.
In my life
entrance,
before.
right? The way that they do that entrance.
It has to be like fully from space. Crazy.
Yeah.
I
think when you're thinking of Anatole, somebody who has some masculine qualities but can't be considered 100% masculine. That's the alien element, right? Of like
totally.
Very
there's an androgyny to it.
Androgyny, yeah, like Hedwig origin of love, like we used to be both sexes. And like that is what Anatole represents of like I can flirt with every gender in this room and every, sexuality. Come at me, bro. Like I'll make you all want me to finger you. Like it's
yes.
That's his magic.
I can't think of any musical theater people I want to finger me, and that's really hard.
Yeah,
that's difficult.
It's difficult.
It's hard to come up with people that have that effect on me.
I will say Diego was the first time I ever had like a MILF reaction to an actor, which was when he was in Sunset Boulevard. So I saw him play Artie the first time because the second time I saw it, he was on for Joe. And then the third time I saw it, he had left the show to go rehearse Evita. So the first
Gotcha.
time I see it, they do Too Much in Love to Care, and they do that giant projection of Diego with a tear running down his face. And I remember the first thought in my brain was, beautiful tears from such a beautiful boy. And I stopped and I'm a 50-year-old barfly.
Beautiful.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't think of anybody anymore. Yeah, Anatole is just, yeah, he's sex alien. What you see is what you get. The fun fact about him is that his very final note was a joke that Dave Malloy wrote in the script because he didn't know how to end Anatole's exit.
Yeah.
And Lucas Steele is also a
Just
countertenor, so he just did it.
did it. Oh, God.
We could talk about Dolokhov, but he is not too important.
No. Oh, God. He was so hot. I was obsessed with him as well.
That was another sexual awakening for me. So
the plan for Natalie was also like enunciation, patter song slay.
Oh, preparation is hot.
Preparation goes off.
Okay. Pin in preparations for a quick second as I just say that Dolokhov, he never did it for me in the tent. And I didn't remember him on Broadway, but then watching it at the library the other day, Natalie, when I tell you I was watching and I went, has he always been this? I just woke up today to find this out?
Yep. And the thing is, he really, really has. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a specific shot because it's like multiple cameras for this one. Because usually at the library, it's 2, sometimes 3 if you're lucky. This I'm pretty sure was like 6 cameras because they had to. But there's a shot of him and Amber during the duel when they're in the club, and they're
so hot together. No,
so hot.
Nick Choksi and Amber Gray are. I went, please see me from across the bar and like my vibe. Please see me from across the bar and like my vibe. I'm begging you, please.
They don't call you the finger trap for nothing, Natalie. But I just like that shot of him. I just saw that. I was like, I've never been more jealous of Amber Gray's neck in my life. It was so hot. But
no, it's sick.
Preparations. There's a moment in preparations. We get it's right towards the end, right before we get to Balaga. And it's the very devil here, feel how it beats. And that do. I just remember every time I saw it in the tent, I always thought it was the coolest moment when I'm going to keep calling her Pippa from now on. I'll never meet her, and I'm going to keep calling her Pippa. Pippa from across the tent, just like walking along the banquette, and then the blue light hits her as Lucas sings to her, and she looks up and looked at him, and it was this sort of like, it's not Natasha as she actually is, it's as Anatole is like envisioning her, and her look to him is like almost like oh, I forgot you were there. Look at you, cutie. And like, it's a more sensual Natasha than we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it was so, I always just thought it was the way the music worked, the lighting worked, and her attitude. I looked forward to it every time. Every time. It was so good.
Oh.
Brava, Chafkin, Malloy, and Sue. All of, and King.
Truly, and King. What a delicious, and King! And King. And also, like, as we're sort of winding down, I feel like more even than actors, I'm just like, let's put some respect on Paloma Young for those costumes.
Yeah.
Those costumes were incredible. I would think about Natasha's coat all the time. Everyone looked so beautiful. And also I think it's very, very hard to costume a show that is set in olden times but with that modern score and not have any element at odds with each other. Like the costumes felt of period but also very modern and in a much slyer way than even like I think Hamilton comes along after and has a sort of similar vibe costume wise but is a little more abstracted with it being like the white and like just the corsetry and the knickers or whatever.
Yeah.
But those Comet costumes I really think are so iconic and beautiful. Mimi Lean set design, because we've been talking about all the
curvature.
highways and byways and the curvature. I mean, that design team really
Nailed it.
created an entire world, and especially because I believe it was the entire design team the whole way up from Kazino. So especially to create that out of nowhere, sort of out of thin air in a space, is just really mind-boggling to me what they did to create the world of that show.
I think with Hamilton, right, it is a like more abstract feeling. I think with also Hamilton, there was a clear divide between the ensemble and the principals. The principals
Yes.
have much more like period appropriate costumes, and then the ensemble is that. Whereas in Great Comet, everyone's sort of in it together. And what I kind of get from the costumes, I would say like the costumes and the set design are an inverse of each other, which is that the set design, it feels modern and chic with touches of the old world, enough to keep reminding you where you actually are. And the costumes feel a little more old world with a touch of the modern chic to remind you we're not totally doing this like as period appropriate. So like Natasha's coat feels, I mean, it's obviously not super appropriate, but it feels more old world. But then the way that they would do Philippa's hair felt a little more modern.
Yes.
Or like Helena's dress would be, or I guess it's Hélène. They usually say Hélène, but I think in the novel it's Helena. But Hélène, like I look at the way Emma Gray is dressed as Hélène, and it feels either like Hélène on her drunk night, or like Helene's daughter took mommy's dress in pearls and dressed up while mommy was out on the town. So like it is appropriate clothes that don't totally fit in the world as it would be, as like as the world as a child would see it.
Yes, it's so thrilling and so smart.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. And how comfy, cushy to be wearing a nightgown for all of Act 2. Natasha. My
A
God.
dream.
Yeah.
A
We would be
dream.
remiss if we didn't just talk a little bit about, because we have to as part of the legacy, because we're getting to the legacy of the Great Comet. First things first, Great Comet did have the most Tony nominations of its season with 12. It ultimately won 2. And then closed at the end of the summer. I was watching. Are you familiar with the YouTube channel Waiting in the Wings, or Wait in the Wings?
Yes.
Very smart young guy. I love his passion. He makes very good videos. He is not immune to what I call the Netflix documentary syndrome, which is that sometimes he omits facts or he mixes around timelines for a specific narrative. I eventually decided to let it go until I just watched his video on what is a flop for preparation for this episode, because Josh Groban was the thumbnail. It's like, oh, what does he have to say about Great Comet? And with Great Comet, he talks about the fallout with the Mandy Patinkin casting, and sort of like how could a show that got rave reviews, had the most Tony nominations, and like, you know, selling out nightly, how could it lose 75% of its investment, and how could it fall apart so quickly? And this is where I was like, I really wish you were here when this was happening, because the conversation became, the situation should never have been this precarious, that if Mandy pulled out, they were going to close.
Yeah.
I remember was anytime Josh wasn't on, the grosses dipped by a lot.
Absolutely. Yes.
My hot take, and this is not to do with Danae's performance necessarily, I do think if Philippa had chosen to do Great Comet and not Amelie right after Hamilton, it would have helped immensely with the box office.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think it would have helped him with the Tonys. Just my hot take. But
yeah. Oh, because people would have, Philippa would have a Tony.
Yeah.
If she had done it, I think. I personally, I think, because she had, by the time it transferred, she had gotten enough goodwill from Hamilton, and because a lot of people had seen her in the previous iterations of Comet, and I think people would have been, the way that like the Oscars are like, we loved this performance, we'll give it to you on the next one. Like even people that hadn't seen her in Comet in previous iterations would have loved, like Hamilton was such a juggernaut, and she was phenomenal and originated an incredible ballad that will be sung by girlies for the rest of time. And I think people loved her in it, and that role just isn't the role that gets the Tony, but they would have been like, oh, you can do this too.
Mhm.
And you were in the big, massive
thing.
thing from last year.
Yeah.
Here you go, man.
Because
Who
it was
won?
like
Who won
directly
that
after
year?
Charlotte
Yeah.
Hamilton too. That comment started like it would have been Josh Groban and the girl from Hamilton who as
Yes.
Hamilton is still the thing.
Yes.
Here we go.
Who won that year in lead actress?
It would have been Bette Midler for Hello Dolly.
Probably a foregone conclusion, actually, but
also,
Philippa would have put up a big and mighty fight.
I think it would have been a major possibility, more so than anyone else, especially if with Philippa that became an even bigger event and Great Comet became something that people were excited to award. Like if they had gotten a score Tony and an orchestrations Tony, it's so much easier to give to award Philippa and they get like a nice round 5. And then it becomes Great Comet, the winner of 5 Tony Awards, and you can work with that. The big thing that people learned with Great Comet, and it's so fun how people have short memories and forget these things, was Great Comet was a case of really terrible producing, of learning that the budget, it sounds ridiculous to say like, oh my God, this $18 million budget, how insane. And when now we're like, oh, subs cost 19. But at the time that was considered a high price tag for this show, which was really risky. And what we learned was like a solid like 4 or 5 million of the budget actually was not for Broadway. It was, they were roping in the previous cost of, I think, A.R.T. and Kazino into it.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to pay off as much of it as they could. So if they hadn't done that, the budget would have been like 14 million, which is still high, but like a better chance at earning. And they had underestimated just how important Groban would be to the grosses. So they had money making weeks with him. And anytime he was out, it was a money losing week straight up. And they were investing extra money into getting more coverage, which is always great. But like that rose the cost, and they were marketing it all the time, and they overestimated Groban's appeal and underestimated Groban's appeal, overestimated Oak's appeal, because Oak comes in post Hamilton. They think what we're thinking with Philippa, he's from Hamilton, here we go. The difference is you and I are saying Philippa 3 months post leaving Hamilton, who's also, by the way, a Tony nominee and like the main actress of the show. Oak, who's not a Tony nominee, but like gets famous for doing the show a full year after he leaves. The bloom is a little off the rose by that point.
Right.
This is why we should be producers, but we're not. Yes. And I won't go into any more details about sort of the backstage antics. I was not there. As I mentioned, I have friends involved with the show. They've told me, but they also didn't give me their permission to divulge. It was not super smooth. We'll just put it at that. And what's upsetting is the optics of what happened with the Mandy narrative for me, where it became a narrative that it never should have been. It never was meant to be. And let's just say the man who started it, I don't think had honest political intentions. I will say something that's going to be a little controversial. This is not a comment thing specifically, but it's tied to it. Natalie, if I may.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you can disagree if you want.
Yeah.
Many times when I see actors post about something that they find quote unquote problematic, it tends to be for something that they could potentially have been in and were not.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's why,
It's just,
part of me getting off of Twitter and stuff is that like I love to run my mouth off, and there was like a point where I was like, no, but even during my like mouthy era, I really weighed in on like, I thought it was fucked up, whether like whatever anyone felt about Amar Ramasar as a person. I then had people that were like, he's really kind and like is trying to make amends or whatnot. I thought it was crazy work the way that like what he was accused of at ABT versus then Scott Rudin being like, this is the guy for this West Side Story revival that we are fronting is like full of 20-year-olds making their Broadway debuts. That is what I found maddening. And so I was like, I will never be in West Side Story. I could never be in West Side Story. So this has nothing to do with me other than someone that is watching a thing that I'm just like, it was never commented on, which was my thing. Like, even if like behind closed doors there have been conversations about it, I think it was crazy work to just put that announcement out and be like, and that's normal, as opposed to being like, look, this is what's going on. He's making amends for the thing. Like, this, we have guardrails in place, and all of the women involved in this production are on board. But to just sort of be like, this is happening regardless.
Yeah.
So be on the train or not. And then, I mean, it closed.
Yeah, and then COVID.
And then
said,
the pandemic happened, and the hazmat suit special didn't pan out.
Yeah.
But I do. So I do. I always look a bit askance when it's people talking about a production or a casting that's like a role they could play, or something where it's like them weighing in on this issue potentially means like they could get the job. You know?
I was talking to someone yesterday who took umbrage with the term that people like to say of like, it was my first time seeing myself on stage and what that meant to me, which is ultimately it's meant to be the pure thing of like how representation matters and seeing that you matter because someone like you is up there. That's great. This person took a little umbrage with it because he was like, it's almost exclusively actors who tell those stories. And it's like, and that is how we got here today of me giving you my gift. And
yes.
And I'm like, yes, I think there's like a little, like one foot in both. Because in order to be an actor, like you do have to have a little bit of ego. It's the only way you can get on stage and present yourself that way, right? Same thing with being a writer. Me doing this goddamn fucking podcast, Natalie Walker. Like the ego I have to say, hey, who wants to hear me talk?
Who wants to listen to my opinions, please?
Who wants to hear my gastritis-ridden body and laryngitis-riddled throat talk about race, baby? No, like, which is not what this is, but still. But the idea of we're learning this now with a lot of people with social media. Like, you don't always have to make a statement. You don't necessarily know if you know all of it. It may not be your battle to fight. And God bless her, Miss Cynthia Erivo, finding out with Wicked Part 1, oh, some things I can just tell my friends over happy hour and not take to social media.
Yeah.
And I'm having the same thing. I am having an experiment with my close friends, of which Miss Walker is on Instagram. I've just
gift.
Yes, a gift. But just like how bold I can be sometimes with things I want to say, when it can be just you and me in person, and when I'm like, I do want to share this with 30 people.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've been going through the same thing. Like my close friends, you've been on my close friends when I was posting all the time on close friends, like complaining. And I still will do it from time to time. But I've been having that same thing of just being like, do I want there to be like a screenshot of this even?
Yeah.
Like, I trust everyone on my close friends, but is this something that I need to put, pen to paper, quote unquote, about? Like, can this just be, let me keep a notes app for myself that like the next time we're getting drinks, I can be like, oh, and this, did you see that the other week? And maybe I will still care about it, but maybe I will have been like, oh, I actually don't care about that anymore.
Yeah.
Because realistically, a day will pass and I'll go, why was I so fired up about this?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's the immediate.
Yeah.
But that's sort of like human nature of knowing when it's important to fan the flames. And I think with something like Broadway, there are plenty of things to take umbrage with and go, hey, not cool. A lot of them are not things to go to the mat for. Especially because it then dilutes when it is time to go to the mat. And so that always bothers me. And especially with Comet, where this was a show that has been so openly multiracial with its casting the entire time. From the jump, they were like, we do not want an all-white cast.
Yeah.
We want different people. We want different ethnicities. We want talent. We want, gender, all these things. I'm like, brah, fucking faux. And then when this happens, people who do not know the history of Great Comet, people like Cynthia Erivo, who did not know the history of Great Comet, just sees this one thing because one person who happens to be friends with one person does not like that this is happening to their friend.
Mm-hmm.
This happens. And that is not about anyone involved with the production. These are about two specific people on Twitter. but that is the case of you. Ignorance may be bliss, but ignorance also makes me see exactly what your asshole looks like, and I'm not always in the mood to look at that.
Beautifully said.
Oh my God, thank you so much. To tie this back to Great Comet, and not even just the trauma, but the show itself, it takes Natasha this bold mistake to learn like the frivolities of her society and of the precariousness of the world and the danger of being a woman, that she now has to take better care of herself and listen to those who have her best interests at heart now. Like love is beautiful, but passion is not always romantic. Some It's not always beautiful to lose your head. Sometimes it's good to like listen to the people who care about you and listen to reason sometimes. If only because, like Andre's father says, sometimes waiting a little bit can really show where everything is. If you act impulsively all the time, you will make mistakes. Pierre acted impulsively and he's married to Hélène.
Not and with Natasha and Anatole, it's like,
Mm.
nice is different than good, hot is
Mhm.
different than good,
Yeah.
lust is different from love, all of it. I do think what is the blessing of the Great Comet discourse that ultimately helped to topple the show. I do think without that brouhaha, we don't get Octet, and Octet rules. Because
Well,
Octet also like has the same thing where what I find so moving about Octet is so much of it is about the evils of social media, of online culture. But what keeps it from being like old man yells at
a cloud.
yells at cloud is that you get at the end of it, you get this beautiful little jewel of a moment where Kuhu Verma in the original production, and that's who I will always think about doing it forever, has this gorgeous little song about like finding connection, feeling alone and finding connection through the internet and sifting through all of that. And uh I've always been so grateful for Octet. And I do think that it was so born out of the absolute chaos and harmful sentiment being disseminated on social media in the
Yeah.
end days of Comet, that you get the smartest show that I've seen about the way, quote unquote, the way we live now on the internet,
Yeah. I
that
think
still
that
manages to find that, just as with Comet, that final shred of hope out of
out of the darkness, yeah.
cacophony and everyone yelling at each other.
Yeah, I think that my final take on the discourse is just like it was the epitome of anger without information and with no target. And then there was the collateral damage was a wonderful show that people really enjoyed, that was so smart and so creative, that employed wonderfully gifted artists, just closed with this stink that it did nothing to deserve. But the legacy is Octet. It is Dave Malloy officially being a musical theater writer that now everybody knows, and is at a level now because of Comet becoming to Broadway, that him doing Black Swan is very exciting. I go see Three Houses at Signature because I'm like, here we go, Malloy. New Malloy. It launches Chafkin, as who's now become one of our prominent directors. It launches the careers of Philippa Sue, Amber Gray, who I would argue Shayna Taub. Like I think things like this is Shayna doing Great Comet gets her in connection with Philippa Sue. Philippa Sue doing Great Comet gets her Hamilton. Being in Hamilton makes Philippa Sue somebody that people are watching. So when Shayna does a concert of her stuff at Lincoln Center and
Philippa Sue
says
is
yes,
there. Yes,
people go.
totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
and these things have a cause and effect, and that's how we get stuff to go as far as it does. Because it's not just that like, oh, Shayna would always be talented. The question is, would people pay attention? And that is how you get people to pay attention. And that was the fortune of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. What other legacies do we think that Great Comet leaves us behind? How do you think musical theater has taken anything from it creatively so far?
Oh, I think the design elements of it for sure.
Hmm.
Like I see it in Masquerade. I see it in like I think like there's I really think that there are a lot of things that I just don't want to like say anything's a ripoff or anything, but I do think it just exploded the possibilities of what shows can sound like, of giving opportunities to people that are brilliant that might otherwise not have gotten the opportunity to show their brilliance in a commercial theater sphere. I mean, I don't think we get Hades Town even without like the Chavkin aspect. Like so many elements of Hades Town I don't think happen at all
Hmm.
without Comet. Like even if Chavkin wasn't involved, just like the sonic landscape of Hades Town, like the those types of voices, and I say those types, I'm like, there's nobody that sounds like Amber. There's nobody that sounds like Grace. There's nobody that sounds like Britain. All of uh I do think that Comet, even for as much as I still bitch to this day about sort of the homogenized musical theater sound, especially in contemporary stuff, um, I I do think they opened a very real door for other types of voices. And just yeah, just the possibilities. Just I really do feel like Comet expanded people's ideas of what musical theater could be and do. And even with our gripes about the things that were lost in the Broadway transfer, the fact that it went to Broadway is something, is massive. For what a sort of punk rock experience it was, the fact that it went to Broadway and was pretty successful and had like
Yeah.
Josh Groban, who you wouldn't like
Right.
expect to want to do something. Like it would have been so much safer for Josh Groban to do a revival, to do something that was like more classical, that
And proven,
more
yeah.
legit and proven. And instead he comes with this like underground thing that came up through the tents. And I think that's an incredible legacy um to leave behind. And I am so excited to see what it could be, and in different spaces. And yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I would definitely would urge aspiring musical theater writers to listen to that score of just challenging what you think a sound needs to be for a scene or for a character, or knowing when to hold back on a song and not necessarily let it be a barn burner. Because, like, Sonia alone is not a barn burner song, but it is a showstopper. Well, Natalie, I think we've come to the end of our reign. This has been so delightful. Thank you so much for doing this.
This has been a dream. This is perfect. This is all that I want to do, is just talk about musical theater with my friend.
Mm.
What
I'm
could
your
be better?
friend.
Come on. The photos that you have of me alone, like
Yeah,
we're locked in forever because it's scary.
because I got dirt on you.
Yeah, you got dirt on me from our production of Aida. Our our
I
childhood production of Aida, all white Aida.
all in
Isn't that what
Aida.
everyone wants?
Yeah, I
Incredible.
listen. You were there. I was there too. We were in that shit together. We both have dirt on each other for that.
We've been through the trenches. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Natalie.
Mutually assured destruction is what they call it.
Exactly. We both have our cyanide pills. Uh, Once again, where can people find you if you want them to find you?
Yay! Okay, people can find me at NWalks on Instagram, and that is the only social media place. And if you didn't listen all the way through to the first part of this for some reason, I am doing a Substack for all of December. It'll be a little advent calendar of hyperfixations and recommendations that'll just be in your inbox every day in December. If you want to subscribe to that, it will be called Mental Extravagance, after Joan Crawford in her book describing basically the act of having a hyperfixation as being mentally extravagant. So log on, get that.
There you go. We love it. We have a Substack, guys. You can subscribe to that in the link in the podcast episode description box. We also have a Discord channel if you want to join there. If you want to chat all about the ways that Natalie and I are wrong about Great Comet. The Discord's also really good for ticket exchange. People will often want to sell their tickets on there or ask advice for their shows to see. People also exchanging media on the shows we cover on here. So if you want to watch a slime tutorial of Great Comet and you don't know where to look, I guarantee you somebody on the Discord has posted it. Sometimes I will comment on there in communication with you guys. I'm trying to be more on Substack for communication. We're also posting articles on Substack and reviews, so just check all that out as well. I don't know what the episode after this will be. Let's hope to hear how my throat does soon enough. Pray for it, everybody. Remember, 5-star rating or review. We love it. We love it. We love to see it. It helps with the algorithm. Natalie, what is our diva for today?
Our diva for today, I would like us to go out with Audra McDonald, Mistress of the Senator. Thank you. Thank you.
So that's it. It's going to be Audra, Mistress of the Senator from the Hello Again. No. Does she do it on her album as well as the movie?
Yes, she does it. She does it on her album, and that's the one that I'm more familiar with.
I was about to be like, oh, Natalie really wants me to go for that soundtrack, but then I remembered, oh no, I think it's on Happy
album.
Songs.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. No, or maybe it's on Way Back to Paradise. One of the two.
No, it's Way Back. It's Way Back. That's what it is.
She has a Way Back to Paradise. Okay, that's what we're going to do it on. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Take it away, Audra. We will see you next week. Bye.
I need a change of scenery. I need a new career. I need a new adventure, and I can't wait another year. I can't wait another day. Not when I have you.